Yeah, I mean, you guys have sort of kept me. I was watching this and made it look like perhaps there was some, something other than what was going on. But when I switched the channel, you said you directed me back. I switched the channel because you don't really. I don't know that you or anyone else wants to hear what I'm going to say because it's. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want a game played on me. I mean, what's so? I mean, first, I mean, let's. They were well. They're tracing the actual. They're tracing back someone's lineage, but right, it's taking them back to it turns out, this guy's descended from someone who was a big part of the Second Great Revival. Um, it's also descended from someone, that was among the founders, and this is really this history. So, the Second Great Revival, he has a relative that's in that. Like, I didn't know much about that, he says. But he did know that he had this relative that was there, part of the founding of the country, and he believed in. Uh, I mean, like, let me put it this way, okay? As it regards our topic about our government and other governments being hostage to the transnational sector, okay? I mean, this went on the sickest it got was when a Democrat called Bill Clinton was in office. But I remember what we said in the other video. At any given time, like if you live in reality, the administration doesn't tell you much about who's in control of the country in a serious sense. Okay, in other words, by the way, persons like your narrator believe that Monica Lewinsky scandal was unreal. That it was unreal. The entire country was distracted by like blowjobs at a time what was happening was like the sort of the final piece. I mean, look, the World Trade Organization was founded. That the free trade agreements that went through that are causing so much harm here, overseas, in Latin America, everywhere. Harm meaning like starvation. In this country, it's mass incarceration. But more importantly, right, this issue it really pushed forward to completion our own government and other governments being powerless to the transnational financial sector. Okay, at this time, this is what happened when Bill Clinton was president. Well, who was in charge of the government? Well, why don't you remember what else finally just went into completion phase during those years? Something that's unfamiliar in the. It's not just okay. Look, this thing with a prejudice towards transnational financial capital that doesn't have the interest of any society at heart. That's new in the hit. That's nothing like that ever happened before in the history of industrial capitalism. Okay. And it hadn't, okay, and it's because it's harmful to all national economies in very dangerous and sick ways. Right now, our economy is shut down, okay, but. That was the really pushed forward this thing that makes no sense if you understand what kind of country it is. This secularization of everything and a kind of like the country's not a Christian country. That was a big part of it too, and burning to death. Having the internal security forces burn to death people living in a spiritual community, killing these people in the cabin who are Christian people. Okay, let me tell you something. Like I said, let's not get into anything too spooky here, but the very fact that it is a Christian country. There's this thing about separating church and state, right? There shouldn't be a state church. The country's founded on like religious freedom. There's been two great revivals. Okay, the fact that under Clinton, this idea that it's not, we have to be PC, it's not a Christian country, this and that and everything. Well, look, we don't know who is in control of the government, but I'll tell you this is why when the internal security forces went after peaceful Christian communities and calling them far right wing groups, people came out, and when they saw the SWAT teams with machine guns. And what happened and what happened to the Davidians, where they actually used tanks, right? And the people in Ruby Creek, right? The letters that Sarah Weaver wrote to the government before she was shot in the throat, she addressed to the agents of Babylon. They held up swastikas, not them, but the people that had been bringing them food on the mountain held up swastikas to the internal security forces. What's that all about? Well, it's not. What's that all about? They couldn't imagine who might be in control of the government at that time. Suddenly, it's not a Christian country for some reason. All of a sudden, you can't do anything like that. You can't have a peaceful community where you're living like a Christian lifestyle. And what's happening economically is harming all societies in a way that would indicate someone with no conscience is in control of the country, that doesn't even have the interest of the country at heart, let alone any other country. Some kind of, something happening in finance capital at the top, which is why the global economic structure looks like it did during the Middle Ages and everything that comes with it. Okay, people were concerned about who might be in control of the government. We spoke about Abraham Lincoln. There's a lot of people who looked into who this person was at assassin. Well, let's just leave it alone.